We have multiple major Minnesota Wild updates dropping directly from the team in a recent Athletic article, including the latest update on Kirill Kaprizov, as well as John Hynes coming out speaking on the current status of Danila Yurov and the timeline of recovery from Jonas Brodin and what moves are going to have to be made before the regular season to replace him. We have a lot about to talk about here today, ladies and gentlemen. Before we do jump into it, though, I want you guys to do me one big favor and hit that sub button if you haven't already. It does me a favor by getting another subscriber from you guys as we're on the road to 2K, but it does you guys a favor as well for getting all of your latest Minnesota Wild news, especially with all of the Kirill Kaprizov contract news going down. You won't want to miss it. And on that topic, I also did want to point you guys towards Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you're on the road and still looking to get your Minnesota Wild updates, especially the Kirill Kaprizov news, you're going to get them there as well. So I appreciate all your guys' support, but we need to jump straight into this because obviously, like I said today, training camp begins tomorrow for the Minnesota Wild. A few teams started today, but going into this, there are still many concerns regarding the main one, Kirill Kaprizov, what his status is going into here, how this is going to impact the team going through this season, and there are some things now that are going to lead to a bit of controversy going towards the start of the regular season on this contract topic. But going straight first into it, of course, all of this from The Athletic, Michael Russo, Joe Smith. Shout out to those guys as always because they provide the latest information and the best from the Minnesota Wild. I say one thing is clear. The Wild have given no direction. Kaprizov hasn't given them no indication at this point that he wants a shorter-term deal or what the number will be to sign him long-term. The Wild are not inclined to negotiate against themselves, so it's unclear if they'll be making a new overture anytime soon. So going into this contract, of course, the 8 years, $16 million that was declined. The Wild have no idea what Kirill Kaprizov wants. He has yet to tell them if it was term, if it was price, what was going on with this deal, why it was rejected. Could it be a clause in the contract? There's still so many questions that the Wild have to ask, and who can they ask other than Kirill Kaprizov? But that just has not happened yet. So going into this, it's a very tough situation regarding the contract right now, as Michael Russo and Joe Smith, of course, here, who know best, like I mentioned, throwing it out here that not even the Wild know. So there is really no point in us trying to guess what this could be. We could have our best guesses, but there's no way I think it would be confirmed until a deal is actually done, or in worst case scenario, it doesn't get done. So looking at this right now, I think this is probably the latest update that will be, a major one until we get something new on like the revelation side, whether it is actually going to be this, we have a direction, or whether or not the Wild will end up getting some deal done before on their own terms. Of course, coming into this, Craig Leopold has kind of made the difficult decision from the Wild standpoint themselves that he said they would get any contract done with Kaprizov, so he certainly could be waiting and to see what the biggest offer is in terms of that, even though that would be a full year's time, and that would be even much more of an issue for the Wild here. But going in as well, this is another thing that really has been pointed towards from the Minnesota Wild standpoint, with all of the teammates from the Wild coming out and really talking about this, that they believe things are going to get done, and that's kind of what it says here. So far, they're saying the right things. However, if the saga does unfold during the season, it could become a significant distraction. That threatens to derail the team's progress. It will be a continuous storyline, mainly because at some point, if he remains unsigned, the Wild will have to consider trading Kaprizov, who has a full no-move clause. So the end there, disregard that, because I think that something will get done, but also I don't want to talk about a trade for Kirill Kaprizov right now at all, because that's just kind of the worst case scenario. Even though things, may take time to get done, I still believe they will get done. But going into this is a very eerie reminder of what happened last year to the Boston Bruins. And of course, going into that year, Swayman took until about a week before the regular season started before he actually signed. We saw how much that threw the team off, which ultimately led to probably one of the worst seasons for a long time in the Boston Bruins organization. But that is one thing that the Wild cannot afford, especially for Kirill Kaprizov, who still is going to be on the team this year, so it's not like he will not be playing if he doesn't sign a contract. But having that on the minds of players, having really the media all around Kaprizov going on that topic, being asked a question, that throws a lot of players off, a lot more than it may seem. So that would be one significant issue that I just really want the Wild to avoid in any situation, but there still is a lot of time for that to not happen in this instance. And one thing I wanted to point out as well from Michael Russo, from bookies.com, the odds of Kirill Kaprizov's next team, the Minnesota Wild are 5th. Now, I don't know how that makes sense because he's currently on the team and they could still negotiate a contract for a year before any of these teams could even talk to him. I think this is a load of bullshit, but I mean, going into this kind of idea here, it's just crazy to see where these organizations, these companies are going and the odds of this. And I still think that the Minnesota Wild are not getting any credit at all because of, what we said here. They don't have any kind of direction to go into. They got to wait until Kirill Kaprizov kind of gives them that direction and let things go. Because as Craig Leopold said, they're not giving him up. There's just no chance. But with all that, of course, Kirill Kaprizov still is going to be a conversation for another day, so let me know what you think about these latest updates, as well as those odds, because I think that's genuinely insane. But going into this year, there is another very interesting star that is emerging as an option for this Minnesota Wild team in Danila Yurov. And this is what John Hynes had to say about what the plan is for him. He says, I can tell he's taking everything in. I thought the first game at the Prospect Showcase, he got acclimated, and Sunday he played a more confident game. He seems like a great kid, eager to learn. He's going to be a guy that we might need to spend a little time with him, maybe put him in with some guys, returning players that know a little bit about what we're doing, give him that chance to get off to a good start in camp. But this is a very positive update from John Hynes. And of course, going into the whole situation behind Danila Yurov, there's been a lot of kind of spark and news about where he will be. Firstly, starting out at second line center. Now, that was before Marco Rossi was signed. I still think that even if Marco Rossi was not, we wouldn't see Yurov start on that second line. He's going to be playing center for this team, which, of course, is loaded with some very good ones right now, which is a great opportunity for him. But taking a look at the lines, I mean, Eriksson Ek, Rossi, whatever that 1-2 punch is going to be, will work out. Ryan Hartman there at center number 3, and Nico Sturm at center 4. Now, you're taking a look at Danila Yurov here on the wing. That is from Puckpedia here right now, but of course, this could change. We could see him here on, in the middle on the faceoff dot and whatnot. Whether that could be Ryan Hartman moving to the wing and Sturm moving up, there's some options here that will work about it. But whatever happens for Yurov here, I mean, you look through Sturm, 2-time Stanley Cup champion. Ryan Hartman, a veteran now for not just this team, but also in the NHL. Eriksson Ek, a very good two-way forward. And then Marco Rossi, a very good playmaker at center. He has every sort of player to learn from here with this team, and I think that this is going to be a great opportunity for him. So the fact that we're seeing John Hynes come out and say, hey, he's taking it all in, it's very good. Whether we need to work on him with it or not, we have pairings that he can put him on. Get him that experience and let him learn. So perfect situation right now. I am in no rush to see, him jump up to a second first line option. Let him do his game. Let him play his game. Let him learn the North American game and also teach him from these guys. I think it's a perfect opportunity. So let me know in the comments what you think about that as well. But one final topic, and as I mentioned, going on about this, there's one concern on the defensive side of things. That's Jonas Brodin. He's expected to miss the start of the season. Now, Jack Johnson, who was on a PTO, a 38-year-old veteran, 1,228 games in the NHL, quite a long time, will have a good shot of earning a league minimum contract. There's no doubt about that. But coming out of camp, he will have to outplay a few players, and that could include Carson Lambos, Matt Kierstad, or Ben Gleason. But the one that really interests me now, Carson Lambos. A guy that for years we've been waiting for, a 2021 first-round pick, going on about 5 years now since he was drafted. This is a very interesting opportunity for him to become the seventh defenseman because, of course, as we've spoken about, the Wild defense seems pretty locked down. Zeev, at this point, Casey Mittelstadt, sorry, going on to Jacob Middleton and David Jiricek. You have that option there on the left side to throw Carson Lambos in as well. Brock Faber, Jared Spurgeon, Zach Bogosian on the right side. There are options, of course, to move David Jiricek over to the right side down, move Boyum, move Middleton, and also throw in there the option of either Jack Johnson or Carson Lambos. I'm okay with either because there's many certain options here that could be gone, and even when you kind of have the idea once again of throwing Jonas Brodin back in here, having those 6 defensemen locked down that we've been seeing before, there's an option for a 7th defenseman here always, especially with a few older players here on the defense, and a few, I don't want to say it, but injury-prone players here. So I'm excited to see how this defense and also the offense are going to really take a turn here in training camp, especially with John Hynes kind of at the helm now with a few different options of how things could work. I think we're in a very positive spot at this point right now, heading into training camp, the start of it tomorrow. So I'm going to keep you up to date with everything. Of course, Kirill Kaprizov right now, still the main attraction, but we're going to have a lot more information that you might not see everywhere, but we're going to have everything that we can here for you guys. So if you're looking for all of that news, be sure to hit the sub button. We're going to have it right here for you. But like I said, that is all I have in this video. If you did enjoy it, give it a like, hit the sub button, and let me know what you think about all of today's topics here in the comments below. But that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.